All right, just wanted to make sure everything was popping. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Scott Free Podcast. I'm your host, L. Scott himself. And you see it on the screen, this BET holds a Black Men's Summit. And what I wanted to do today is I just wanted to give you, my quick take on a couple of the viewpoints that they had, because I think some of them are so anti-FBA. It's disingenuous, and to me, this was no more than a Democratic Party. All right. But before we get started, I got to hit you with a couple of things so they don't hit my channel. So they'll hit you with the fair use. So I'm going to hit you with the fair use video and I'll come right back. Okay.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
All right, so we got that out of the way. So YouTube, know this, fair use. This is just for me to give you my thoughts and opinions. We're not making any money off of this, okay? So let's go ahead and get this video set up. Let's get this music down low. Like I said, I'm not gonna waste your time. We're gonna dive right in, and like I said, a couple of these times I'm probably gonna get triggered. I'm gonna stop the video, and we're gonna talk about it together. All right, here we go. Hold on a second. Sorry guys, hold on. Cut the video on to be better.
That some black men aren't feeling having a woman president. Let's roll the clip, and we will discuss it on the other side.
And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
I'll hold it.
And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that.
You know what? Before they even tell us their thoughts and opinions on that, the one thing I'll say to Obama is this. If you're going to talk down to black people, have black people around you. And I don't give a shit about your wife being black, because she thinks she's going to talk down to us. And she's married to you, who is not a black man. So I want to say to all of you people who think that you can talk negative to niggas don't go for that. I promise you we don't go for that. And you're just basically causing more of a divide when you act that way. Woo. But I'm going to hold my thoughts.
Okay, we are here now with Tennessee State Representative Justin J. Pearson, Ben Crump, and...
That Justin J. Pearson guy, just for a quick note on him, y'all probably seen some of the other ones. Y'all may not know much about him, but he's one of them cosplaying black American men too who ain't from here. I think he's got foreign lineage as well. The little afro is basically his way of trying to have some camaraderie with us. We supposed to think he down because he got an afro. I hate niggas like this.
And Michael Ealy. So they're joining us on the panel. Okay. As a nation, we've never had a female leader. Never. Right. So there is an unspoken idea that a lot of people have, whether they say it out loud or not. So what was your impression?
Look, I love President Obama. And I think we got to be honest in our own community about the reality of sexism and the role that patriarchy plays in our own community. Sure. I go to church.
Can you tell me where in our culture, in black American culture, that we have a patriarchy? Can you please show it to me? Can you show me the part of our culture where black men are dominating their women? I'm not talking about the abusive man that we all disagree with and don't like. But we all know that is not the common black man. So this whole patriarchy thing that they're going to dominate, that's bullshit. That's white men and their women. There's always, no, you want to know what patriarchy looks like? Go to East Indian culture. Go talk to one of them. Go watch they women. Go watch a Asian person. I'm not Asian, the Arab, when they women gotta cover the fuck up their whole bodies. No, that's a patriarchy. That's telling a woman she can and can't do this. That's where you own her. That's them. That is not our culture. It has never been our culture. And I hate the perpetuation of the, I'll say I like the rule, not the exception, and they perpetuate the exception. That's what I'm looking for. They They always trying to prop up the exception when it's something negative with us, when the average everyday black man does not look at the world through a patriarchy lens. That's bullshit. But
Which is a lot. And there are people who will greet me and not greet my fiance, who's standing right next to me. So like, there's a real conversation.
the reason why they greet you and not your fiance, they're being respectful to your woman. See, ain't nothing more disrespectful than you come up and start talking to my woman and at all. And look, no, nigga, and until I give you the opening, you don't say shit to her. When you greet me, then it's my job to say, thanks, man. My name is L. How you doing? This is my wife, such and such. You know, that's what you do. You just don't go up and start greeting my woman. That is not patriarchy. That's bullshit.
Conversation we need to have about what is going on inside of our communities and what we can do to make sure that we unlearn some of the behaviors that are really negative, right, and that are really harmful. What is also really important is that we do understand the facts. An overwhelming majority of black men are voting for Vice President Kamala Harris to be President of the United States. Right? 80% of us.
Which is unfortunate.
You know, the truth is, you got that one uncle that you need to talk to. Right. Yeah. But the majority of us, we good. Right. Yeah.
No, so basically, just by voting Democrat, no matter they don't do shit, just because we voting Democrat, now all of a sudden we good. But our uncle, who obviously is using some discernment, obviously, who's the one who said, I'm gonna be a little more critical. I need something tangible for my vote. He's the one we need to get in line. Yeah, he's the problem. Right. I get that.
Right, like we on the same page, but there is some work that we are going to have to do as a community to figure out what are the qualms, what are the issues, what are the problems that 20% or so of black folks who a few years ago were voting Democratic and all that are having. And I will say this about Donald. In our country, our socialization has taught us to praise people with a lot of money. Yeah. Our socialization has taught us to praise people who are famous. Right. Our socialization has taught us to praise people who can get a lot of women and can say what they want and do what they want and have said, hey, that's the image of a real man. That's the image of a strong person. That's the image of a real leader who can just fire people at will. Now he's running for president. And a lot of people are like, wait, no, that's not it anymore. Right. But
well, isn't it ironic that we're holding a black men's summit on a network and we have nothing but entertainers and celebrities and politicians on the screen who has a little more wealth than everyone else? You're talking about yourself. You do not understand that. You're using your celebrity, your wealth, your ability to generate more income than the average black man to down sway his opinions and thoughts on everything. That's exactly what you're doing as well. Doesn't make sense to sit there and criticize when you're doing it.
But years of socialization have taught us that actually that is the image that America has put forward as the image of what you want to be, of the person that you want to lead. So it isn't just...
And they'll keep talking about absolutely. Nigga, that's what you're doing. You're trying to use... When Janet Jackson questioned that lady's ethnicity, when she questioned her race, you jumped out the window and you did it because you thought you were going to use your celebrity. Your homeboy, Steve Harvey, came out just recently in a totally other context and basically says he has 9 million people strong every morning that he can weaponize if he needed to against anything and anybody. That's exactly what you are doing. Wow, the delusion is crazy to me.
That's a black issue. We got a nationwide issue about the perception of hypermasculinity masquerading as leadership, when in fact it was our mamas and our grandmamas and our great-grandmamas who got us here.
So we're having a men's summit. Let me tell you something that I'm going to move on from the sexism. Well, no, I'll let it keep running because they're cooking. They want to talk about sexism. You just try to diminish all of the males in your life down to your mama, your grandmama, and your great-grandmama. Now, not to disrespect any of those people in your lives, but how are we as men supposed to power ourselves up when you can't even acknowledge your existence yourself? There's no white people in the room. Why are you not acknowledging the black men in your family, your uncles, your daddies, your granddaddies? How are they affecting you? You're not even bringing that up. You want to talk about the women and how your grandmama fixed your life. That is so disingenuous to me.
Well, I tell you, I'm telling you, and the fro, baby.
And the fro, baby.
You know what's always interesting? We hear about the polls, and one of the things I know for sure, the quickest way to make a black...
Yeah, that's it. Let's move subject. I have nothing else for that. Next subject that we're going to discuss on here, the state of the economy. So now, I haven't listened to this. I wanted to watch this one with you guys in real time, and I think to myself, they have to bring up reparations in this conversation. If we're talking about the state of the economy, we have to bring up reparations for black men if we're talking about how we're going to compete inside this economy. I know it's going to come up. DL, I know you're going to discuss it.
Man, about the election, our special correspondent, Kenny Burns, hit the streets of Atlanta. We're going to roll the tape.
First of all, let's see what the streets, and here we go. Now watch this cherry picking.
Specialist Kenny Burns reporting live from Atlanta, Georgia. And if you don't know, Georgia is a swing state, and we're here to find out what black men want most in this election. And never forget, the South got something to say.
Okay, come on, get to it, man. Come on.
What matters most in the 2024 presidential election to you?
I mean, I think everybody got money on their mind.
The focus around mental health.
What about the border that she let run loose?
The immigration stuff, the negative stuff about immigration and just whose fault it is.
The economy, of course, you know.
I feel as though a lot of black men tend to think that Donald Trump is better for the economy. What do you say to that?
I've heard that, but what I've seen is that Donald Trump, he's a gangster, but he's presented himself as a successful businessman who's filed for bankruptcy 6 times.
Inflation, definitely inflation.
I see that as this is going on, you're starting to see a diminish of middle class, and it's either lower or upper class. They're having to say, well, let me take a backseat on my wellness so I can pay my mortgage this month. I can pay my rent. I can feed my kids.
The percentages that we were seeing increases in our groceries and in our bills was higher than inflation. And so I think that it's created an opportunity for us to be taken advantage of.
And I think to the Trump point, people got that stimulus check and just thought that was all his job, and that's what they're clapping about, but it's way deeper than that.
The stimulus checks are not...
Before they move on with the... Well, let me say this. Before they say about the stimulus check, miss me with the stimulus checks. I didn't get it, and I don't know many black men that did get it. For whatever reason, they had some reason why you just didn't get it. Mine, literally, I called the IRS. They told me that for some reason they can't find my address and hung up on me. Have not been... I never got it. And trust and believe me, no one's thinking about Donald Trump over a funky ass $1,500 check. Nobody's thinking like that. Why would you do that? That was $1,200. Most people's rent is more than that. Y'all have to stop lying about that. Oh God, y'all lie so much.
If we are empowered economically, then we can shift so many of our outcomes.
What would you tell those brothers and sisters who are undecided but need to be going to the polls?
What other choice do you have right now?
Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice.
I have a choice to sit my ass at home. That's the choice I have. Stupid shit.
All right. We are back. And, of course, Kenny Burns was here with us. That was a dope little piece, man. I appreciate it. The federal minimum wage has remained at $7.25 since around 2009. And it seems like the economy is on a lot of people's mind. Obviously, they even have a book, It's the Economy Stupid. So how do you speak to that? What do you...
Well, before he speaks, let me say this. You're in a room full of black men. And the conversation you want to start when it comes to the economy is at the bare bones of it. If we're talking minimum wage, we're talking about working for white people. We're in a group of men together in a room together. Do we even have time to discuss just working for white people? Fuck the minimum wage. We have a room full of black men, hopefully a room full of successful black men. Why are we not talking about how to build economics with each other here? Not discussing the bare bones of us at the bottom. That's crazy.
What are you hearing?
Here with this white black guy.
I feel that, it's heavy on our minds because Atlanta is a opportunity economic city. Sure. We all came here, if you're not born and raised here, Originally, I came to go to school, but I stayed and started a business. I stayed and raised my family. I have a 20-year-old and a 24-year-old who will be, exiting college soon and getting into the workforce. And the big thing on people's mind is how are we going to take care of our families and how are we going to encourage our kids to start families? So economics is very important.
He didn't say nothing. He told you that. Matter of fact, let me address that. Atlanta does have a lot of entrepreneurs. But another thing Atlanta has is a lot of broke entrepreneurs. Everybody's out here trying to do business because there is nowhere to work, really. So they moved to the city that they said the city of lights and glamour and dreams, and they got here. And what you found out when you got here was you still are in a white-owned city. And what I mean when I say that is that the face of it is black, but we do not thrive in this city. I know of so many people, so many women who are in this city with children too alone, that are living in hotels, that are living in shelters, that some are in their cars. I'm watching this every day, and the people that you see are thriving, they're not really thriving. You have a handful that are, but I think it's like 5 or 8 million people in Atlanta now. Atlanta's suffering. And then the housing market is going through the roof. So that's why everybody's struggling. That is very disingenuous, but I digress.
We talked about this. I mentioned this in the question I posed. I remember 40-some years ago, I worked at McDonald's. I made $2.65 an hour. And 46 years later, the minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. So we can't have a conversation about just inflation without the commensurate wage growth. Now, Jermaine Dupree, you've heard this a lot, that things were better under Trump. I've heard it a lot. How widespread do you believe that is?
I don't believe that.
No, I'm saying, but it is a pervasive.
I don't believe
it is a pervasive attitude.
Yeah. No, I mean, I represent. Oh, I don't represent, but I'm here to speak to the YDS generation.
Sure.
That's the young, dumb, and stupid kids that's out there.
First and foremost, Jermaine, if you want to talk to the youth out there, you can't call them young, dumb, and stupid. You have now lost the youth. That's fucking dumb. Do you not understand? And besides, they're bigger than you. They'll whoop your ass. Stop it.
Right. And they have this.
Well, they are. That's crazy.
That's what it is. They have this in their mind that, as Newface said on the video, the stimulus checks, they're paying attention to things like that, and they're not hearing the information that needs to be heard.
Right.
Who's the reason why they're not hearing the information needs to be heard? Secondly, if young people are voting for Trump based off they getting a stimulus check, then see how low the bar is that your own group the Democrats won't even jump over. So if it's just a $1,200 tail, you should have did it twice, and then they would have loved you. But you didn't do that either. So explain to the young, dumb, and stupid, as you call them, explain to them why they should vote for a group that won't even go higher than the bar that is that damn low. That doesn't even make any sense, Jermaine. It really doesn't.
The stimulus checks, they're locking people up for selling weed.
Right.
Nobody's walking around. Everybody, let me stop. I need them to stop saying that that's why black people do not like that woman. You are being disingenuous too. And if you're not being disingenuous and you truly believe that, y'all niggas are out of touch. I promise you are. No one cares that she locked people up for weed because every county, every city, every state, every place locks you up for weed. Everyone knows that. If it's a state that does not allow weed, you're going to get locked up if you get caught with it. That's not on the DA. The DA, actually, her hands are tied. The law basically says he has to do it. Stop pushing that lie that that's what people are upset with this woman. That shit is so fucking frustrating.
These are the street topics that's happening.
Sure.
That's all I keep hearing from.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
that's because you ain't in the streets.
It's really important that we as men in this room we give them the facts today.
There was
Watch something you don't get today. It's no facts. Watch you get no facts. No facts. No facts. Watch. Mark my words.
Specific reason that Donald Trump, even though he didn't get those checks out, there was a specific reason he delayed them so he could put his name on it. He knew it would have that effect.
Correct.
He knew.
So if he did, just say this shit is true. It's not. But just say it is true. And that's the problem. So why isn't your team doing something to counter that? You can't whine about what he did if what you did is worse than what he is doing. That makes no sense.
who will meet. And Congressman Horsford, what do you say to black men who do say the economy was better under Trump? Because I hate when somebody tells me, like, if I go somewhere and it's hot, and they go, but it's a dry heat. I'm still hot.
Yeah. You know what I think too? Yes, they like to publicize and prioritize black men and women who say they are voting for Trump. I promise you, if you could poll the 40 to 45 million black people that's here on this soil, if the reason why they're not voting for Kamala Harris is because they're voting for Trump, most of them will say, no, I'm not voting for either. So that's one thing that we have to stop doing. You have to stop doing that. And if he's being strategic, that is what he's supposed to do. Why isn't it that your team isn't being strategic as well? Why is it that you are getting 80% of the vote, but you're not speaking to what you're doing? You're only speaking to what he's not doing.
Yep. You can't tell people how to feel. Right. We can tell them about the metrics, but it is a pervasive attitude that the economy was better.
So look, a couple things.
Whoa, I hadn't seen this one. This nigga can't talk. He can't say nothing. We talking about economics, and he is with the Congressional Black Caucus? It's the same Congressional Black Caucus that just a little over a month ago killed what would have been a reparations package for the black people in California? Is this the same guy from that group? Is he going to tell us something that's supposed to help us economically when he had an opportunity to put money directly into black people's pockets, and he is part of the group that said no? This is why I say each one of these people are very disingenuous, and they're here to mislead you.
From Vegas, so I do know dry heat, but I also know a liar when I see
Yeah, I do too.
And Donald Trump lied about providing economic opportunity for black America. In fact, it was Donald Trump who asked black America, what do you have to lose?
Can I ask a question? Is this let's dump on Trump hour, or is this a building moment? See, we're not building. We are talking shit. If you get this many other groups, I honestly say, and this is one thing I would tell I envy from every other group. If you get any other race people together right now, if you put this many of them in a room together with some money, they are not discussing the big bad black guy. The bad black guy. They're going to be discussing their things, how they're going to build themselves up, how they're going to lead their own group. We are whining about one guy. I can promise you this: no black person thinks they did better under Trump, or but everybody thinks they did worse under Kamala and them because they're shitting on us, but that's a whole nother story. We'll get there. But let's just start with Trump and go backwards. I have been an adult since the Clinton era. My economic status has not changed one iota based upon which one of those presidents were in office. It is not getting to the ground floor what is affecting us. That is why you always have to use fear mongering to actually get black people to vote, because you can't stand on anything you've actually fucking done. And see, what black people are telling you guys now is that we are only going to come vote if you're going to do something. You're already shooting us in the street with full immunity. That's not going to change. We're already economically at the bottom. We're getting targeted in every other way possible. So you're going to have to stop fear-mongering. Tell us about what Donald Trump says or going to do. Tell us what your party's going to do if they vote for them. That is what black people are telling you, and you know it to be true, but what you're doing is you're standing on the benign neglect policy. You're standing on, we're going to talk about black people's issues, but we're not going to address them. We can all see it now. It's time for a new playbook. If you're not going to actually move the goalposts in a positive manner, it is time to get a new playbook. That shit will not work on foundational black Americans anymore. I stand on that.
And then when he got into office, he appointed Supreme Court justices that showed us what we had to lose by taking away our fundamental rights. Now, on the stimulus check, let me just get the fact out. Democrats in Congress were in the majority.
They always like to do that. Let him finish.
We passed the bill that provided the relief not only for households through the stimulus check, but also the child tax credit that lifted 50% of black children out of poverty.
Can I ask any black, and I'm going to talk to the black women. Can I talk to black women at the 25-minute mark? Can I talk to you sisters? Has the child tax credit ever lifted any of you out of poverty? Or is it just money to cover what you've already spent from the year before? It covers Christmas debt that we don't put ourselves in. We got to get that brand new car that we had, or that used car that we get every year. That's what that money is for. And it has never lifted a goddamn person out of poverty. What is wrong with you people? We'll lie you direct in your face like we don't experience this shit. A stimulus check that was $1,200. Like I said, most people's rent is more than that. That is nothing that's ever going to make people get up on Super Tuesday and go out and vote for this one man. No, nigga. It is more than that. Black people are telling you straight to your face, and you're saying, I ignore what you're saying to me, and I'm going to tell you what your issues are. That is why everybody is off the bandwagon. It makes perfect sense.
When the Republicans got back into the majority, they did not extend that benefit, so those children went right back into poverty.
A tax credit is all we need to get out of poverty. We need a tax credit. That's how close we are from being out of poverty, is a tax credit. Thank you, Black Caucus, for letting us know. Now, reparations that you killed, that's not going to get it. That is just a Band-Aid. But this tax credit is going to get it. I get it now. Makes sense.
We helped small businesses get the support to keep their businesses open and to provide employee retention tax credit so that employees would stay on the job. Right. It was about people and saving lives. And Donald Trump did not do that. And I'm tired of talking about the last 4 years. I'm more concerned about what Donald Trump will do the next 4 years if he gets a chance to be.
So you want to talk about the 10 to 20 million immigrants that got here illegally, that are getting funded by the people that didn't fund us the last 4 years, that you're telling us about the stimmy check that he produced. So what you're basically saying is that we should need to forget about that, because we need to worry about them just killing us from the police officers, even though half of the police officers are still good people. So I don't understand how we're supposed to worry about that solely, where we don't worry about nothing else. We need to vote solely because of this one thing that you bring up in every segment. They keep bringing up this whole full immunity for police officers, but at the same time, but let's be clear, not all cops are bad. None of that makes any fucking sense. Dude, we're talking about economics. The state of the economics in the black community. That means we need to discuss what is the state of the economics in our community, and we are suffering. They are telling us by the year 2030 or the 2050, we will have zero wealth in our country, in our group, in Black American group, zero wealth. And you want to talk about a stimmy check. I'm still not hearing nothing about reparations. It still hasn't came up yet. This is why people are not voting for your group. Brother, they understand people are getting paid. They no longer want your symbolism. We no longer give a damn about Jermaine Dupri and DL and none of these other niggas. We don't care. We need to take care of our own families. And if you're going to hinder us through the workforce, if you're going to send all the jobs away, if you're going to block us from everything that you do, then we're going to have to do it our way. Sit your ass on the couch.
Be the president. And we can't let that happen.
But it's very shrewd in a way, because people are simplistic. It's the things you can say. It's the things you can repeat. And it's always funny when they talk about, today, I guess he was saying how low the unemployment rate. It's weird for black people to hear unemployment rate, because it was pretty low during slavery. That wasn't that great. That's not a great marker. We was brought here to work, so thanks, pal.
Let me hit my crew, and I give all my 300 people down here, these scot-free people. I'm gonna talk to y'all real quick. This whole unemployment thing, you may not know this, but they're lying. Both sides are lying about unemployment. Unemployment is extremely fucking high. Statistically, I think it's 18 to 34, 50% of black males are out of work, but they like to tell you how the unemployment rate is under 5%. They like to tell you how it's under 2%. Excuse me. They like to tell you how one group got it lower and the other one got, no, nigga, did you know that the only people that they count so far as being unemployed is people who are actively getting unemployment checks currently? If you're not at work and you don't have a job and you're not drawing unemployment, they're not counting you. So that means how many people you know that are unemployed that's not getting unemployment checks? they're not getting counted. Unemployment is way fucking higher than that. There's no place to work. Then you have to gig everywhere. Everybody's a driver, a delivery driver, whether it's Amazon, DoorDash, Uber, Lyft. Everybody's having to either do that primarily or supplement themselves with that. We are a gig country. These niggas do not know what they're talking about.
That's not the same thing. We have Charles Phillips. Charles Phillips is a business leader also. He works closely with VP on the economic proposals. Why should black men not hold the Biden-Harris administration responsible for inflation? Why should
please tell me why we're not, because we haven't.
Like Obama, you know that, right? You do.
But you notice that we never got to talk about why we should hold her accountable or his accountable, the Democrats accountable. What we heard was straight to why we shouldn't.
Yeah, I do. So first of all, I'm older than him. He looks like me.
Why shouldn't they be held responsible for inflation?
It's a fair question, and I think you have to put the Trump economy in context. That was the Obama economy he inherited. So
let me get this straight. Again, newsflash, I don't give a fuck about Republicans. They told me they don't give a fuck about me. I don't give a fuck about them. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to take Obama's great. Trump fucked it up. Biden has to deal with what he did. So you see how everything is always somebody else's problem. Now, I don't know about y'all, but in my family, they told me that when you make excuses for shit you fucked up, you're the problem. And what they're trying to make black people do is be unaccountable for themselves. Hold these niggas accountable because this is bullshit. This is bullshit. You got to stop. This is crazy. That makes no sense.
I served on the Obama Economic Recovery Board during the financial crisis. He had to fix something, an economy that was tanking. He fixed it, handed it off to Trump. It was growing 2.4%, generating about 210,000 jobs a month. Trump had to do nothing but not screw it up and leave it alone. Right. That first 3 years, that kind of worked, and then COVID hit.
Okay. Whoa. So how are we blaming him for everything if 3 out of the 4 years of his economy, nothing went bad? And then COVID hits. Something that was planned hit. And then everything was crazy, and it's his fault. Okay, make this make sense.
COVID wasn't Trump's fault. It wasn't Biden's fault.
Oh, okay. That's what it's going. That's what it's.
What happened was we got all the stimulus checks. We all spent all that. But that meant that caused inflation because we're all buying in the grocery stores. Couldn't go to restaurants, so we're buying the same goods. People stopped working because for the first time they could take off for a while. That raises labor costs.
Whoa. Let's back this nigga up. Let's slow up what he just said. A couple of things that he's lying about. Let's back this up a little bit. Let's go here.
I served on the Obama Economic Recovery Board during the financial crisis. He had to fix something, an economy that was tanking. He fixed it, handed it off to Trump. It was growing 2.4%, generating about 210,000 jobs a month. Trump had to do nothing but not screw it up and leave it alone. Right. That first 3 years, that kind of worked, and then COVID hit. COVID wasn't Trump's fault. It wasn't Biden's fault, but that was the beginning of inflation. What happened was we got all the stimulus checks. We all spent all that.
$100, y'all. They keep saying it like they paid real money. That's the equivalent of today's money of somebody giving you pocket change. Stop playing with people. That did not help us. And like I said before, majority didn't even fucking get them little stupid ass checks.
But that meant that caused inflation because we're all buying in the grocery stores. Couldn't go to restaurants, so we're buying the same goods. People stopped working because for the first time they could take off for a while.
That's why I want to stop him out. That nigga just said people stopped going to work because they could take off for a while. Over a $1,200 check? What are you talking? What? See, that's the thing I'm talking about. People can put on a nice suit, talk with great diction, and stand in front of your face and just say some of the most egregious, stupid shit I've ever heard. The $1,200 was gone in a day for everybody. Matter of fact, the $1,200 was gone within an hour for most people, sir. So I don't know how the fuck people know. We didn't go to work because they shut everything the fuck down other than 3 or 4 businesses that are now in the trillions of dollars when it comes to wealth. Why these people will stand in front of you and just say any goddamn thing?
Wow, that raises labor costs. To get people off the bench to work, you got to pay them more money. And then other things.
So, and then you're basically going to say that we basically sat at home like we chilling off of $1,200 and we ain't going to make it work till they pay us more money. Right. You know what? These people, no, I can't. I don't even know if okay. We're 30 minutes in. I got a couple more clips. I can't even do more with this. Let's finish up and let's go and do it.
Things happen in the Ukraine war that makes oil prices go up. Biggest producer of grain in the world, Ukraine, grain prices go up. All this stuff is happening at once. But that last year, all that started under Trump. So what did he do? He did the stimulus checks, which made sense because you have to save people. People had to eat. But then it accelerated under Biden because it takes 3 or 4 years to work through the economy. That's already happened. That's behind us. What's happening?
So basically what you're saying is that you come up with a fake disease. And I say that because there was a 99% survival rate. And they shut the world down. I think the pneumonia has like a 70% survival rate, which majority of us do survive it, but they don't shut the world down for it. You shut the world down, handed out a check, and then blame us basically. You shut it all down. You told us we couldn't go anything. You made it where restaurants couldn't open. And now you're trying to tell us that basically we have to suffer the inflation behind it, something that you caused. Come on, man, make that shit make sense.
What happened now is inflation has come down. It was at 9% when he started. It's at 2.5% now. We're getting better. We just need to keep doing what we're doing now. That's exactly what VP Harris plans to do. Continue to the plan that's in place right now.
Okay, thank you.
So continue with the plan that has black people and their communities getting overrun with illegals that they don't want. Continue the plan because that's working.
Thanks.
We have Ryan Wilson now. You're an entrepreneur also, and there is, and we've talked about this a lot. There is the belief that the economy was better under Trump, and it plays itself out. On my radio show, I hear it so much. I started to believe it, and I know better. I'm like, wait a minute, you can lie to me, and I'm feeling like you were telling the truth.
DL does not know what he's talking about. People who are millionaires do not know what everyday people are going through. He is not telling the truth. The only time he is feeling it is right now. You feel it when you go to the grocery store. You feel it when you go to the gas pump. You feel it when you pay your electric bill. That shit has all happened within the last 2-3 years. Don't sit here and act like shit was so much sweeter now than it was 7 years ago.
Why is that so pervasive? And they truly believe it. It's not something that they're kind of just repeating by rote.
I mean, I think it's important to note that prices were lower during the Trump presidency, but an important point has already come out in this conversation. President Trump inherited the Obama economy, right? Like, that is just something that we have to put on the table that happened. He inherited what the previous administration had done to make sure that the economy was in a good position when he started. Now, if you fast forward, many of the businesses that I serve at the Gathering Spot, when I think about what we were talking about during the Trump presidency, those conversations were not positive, right? So I don't remember this magical time period when everyone was doing well. We were still talking about access to capital being tough to find. We were still talking about trying to figure out ways to grow and scale our businesses. None of those fundamentals changed throughout the Trump presidency. And to the idea of having a plan, I never saw President Trump produce a plan while we were going through that time period. When COVID hit and we were in the middle of just very, very tough circumstances, what I watched happen were businesses in the community close. So this idea that we were doing better under President Trump, I, again, didn't experience that. And many of the folks that I serve every single day certainly will tell you that that was a very difficult time period.
This is America, nigga. It is a difficult time period every year. The reason why you didn't feel any growth there, because you didn't feel it under Obama. You didn't feel it under the Bushes. You didn't feel it under the Clintons. I can guarantee, even though I was not voting, didn't feel it under the other Bush. You didn't feel it under Reagan. Nigga, this is what they're trying to take. This is disingenuous. You do not move ever. Black people have less than 2.5% of all businesses in this country, and it's always been that fucking way. I'm so tired of people lying.
The interesting thing about leadership is we can't, to your point, we can't tell what's going to happen. But every president is challenged in some way. Correct. And is the measure of that presidency how successful they deal with that challenge. And the one thing that's unassailable is there was a complete, total failure of leadership in that position. And I think that when people don't realize that.
So this one, it's just been challenging, even though everything they've been challenged with, they caused. You let the borders get overrun. I understand you didn't have enough border patrol people, but you did not have to give people stuff when they got here. That's how everyone knows you want them here. No one lets people break into their house, and then when they get here, you say, well, they're here now, we got to feed them. No, well, we got them, buy them. Fuck my own kids. They'll figure it out. Go out and get a job. But these people, we have to feed them. No. DL, what are y'all doing is the reason why no one pays attention to any of you people is because you're only looking out for one side. The black side needs you to support them, not a party.
All right, hang tight. Coming up, we're going to dig into VP Harris's opportunity agenda for black men.
Matter of fact, let's just move on. This shit, I'm sitting there wasting time with this shit like I ain't doing it. So let's move on. Economic opportunities. So, before we get here, like I said, we didn't have a conversation at all about reparations. Topics that black men are stressed about. I do not see reparations on this list. Why is that? Because black people are not setting up this production. This is a Democratic production. That's how we all know it.
Helped craft this opportunity economy because the vice president didn't want to talk about black men or talk down to black men. She wanted to listen to us. She actually kicked.
A woman who listens? What?
So she kicked off.
Where is she at? No, I'm just kidding.
So she kicked off these opportunity tours, these economic opportunity tours. Some time ago, she went to Atlanta and to Philly and to Detroit to listen to us, to listen to entrepreneurs, to listen to men that want to own homes, to talk about the wage issue in communities.
So I'm going to let him get it all out. Let him finish.
And from that conversation came this black men's agenda.
So I don't know if any of you guys got to see the agenda, but the agenda that he's speaking out that was supposed to be specifically for black men states inside that actual document that this is not only for black men, but for others. And this is a lift-off program. But what I want to speak to is not even that. I'll speak to this. Why is it that a woman who says she's black, well, now says that she's black in love, not in actual lineage, but so this woman who's been around black folks, who understands the plight, who can rattle off all the shit that we've been through, has to go meet with niggas to figure out what they need and want. But in the process of meeting with niggas, all that we keep hearing is reparations. We need our reparations, but we never address that. It never comes up. It's never one of her talking points. It's never anything that comes up in one of her interviews. It never comes up. Brother, you are lying again. That's how we know that this is a farce. This whole thing is a farce.
Came from us.
And then he wants to blame us for this bullshit. We gave her these talking points.
And that is what we need in a leader, not just for president, but all elected officials, to not take us for granted. So in the agenda, she's talking about addressing work, wages, and wealth, to be able to own more than we owe.
So work, wages, and wealth. So is in there, did it speak up? No, it didn't. But did it speak of specifically set inside tangible things specifically for black people? Did she make a way to where on a job that we have to come in at a higher wage than anyone else? No, you did that and say that's DEI. So she's not addressing what black men's wealth issue gaps is. I mean, the wealth gap with black men is. You're not addressing it. You're talking to it.
To move from a consumer-driven economy to an ownership-driven economy.
What does that have to do with black men and them building themselves up?
One where we actually have a stake in this.
What is the stake that we'll have in it? You still haven't spoken it.
Equity in it.
Through home ownership.
We've always wanted to own homes, and we own more homes during Jim Crow than we do now, sir. So we've always wanted to own homes. We're getting them systematically removed from us. We're getting kicked out of our homes, not only through the redlining and things that you had in the 60s and before. You're getting kicked out of your homes now with overvaluing the properties. Property taxes are kicking your ass. When the wealth, there is no place to work for most people, sir. You can't keep a mortgage and gig work your life away. You can't keep a mortgage and Uber, brother. You can't keep a mortgage. You can't keep a mortgage and you drive for DoorDash.
Providing $25,000 worth of down payment assistance. She wants to help more entrepreneurs actually start their business.
You notice that we moved away from what she was going to do for specifically for black men, and she's talking about her economic plan that we hear her regurgitate on every one of these talking points. I thought that she met with us and did something specific for us, sir. This is not specific for us.
By providing $20,000 of forgivable loans.
So why is it a loan at all? Why is it not a grant, a $20,000 grant? How about a $20,000 towards your reparations? Why does it have to be a loan? Because the language is going to have something in there to where damn near all of them, if not all of them, will have to pay it back some form of fashion. Mark my word, that is a trick bag.
Loans that do not have to be paid back. We did that for small businesses during the pandemic. She wants to do it to help entrepreneurs start their business.
And what about the people who are not inept or doesn't have enough business fortitude to start a business? So they're just supposed to sit here and suffer because there's no place to work, remember?
And then when they start it, she wants to provide $50,000 of deductions in the first year of the business because that's where you need the help the most.
If you know anything, and I'll stop stopping this so much, but if you know anything about deductions when it comes to it, that $50,000, you're going to deduct $50,000 from what? You have to have income. You have to have money. You have to spend money to make money, sir. So I guess we're supposed to take the $20,000 forgivable loan that they're supposed to give you, which they haven't told us the criteria to getting that loan. Who qualifies for that loan? Because it didn't say all black men qualify for this loan. None of that came out, sir. So please, again, how are we supposed to build ourselves up from that?
So centering these issues is what she heard. She also heard the need to address health care by establishing a national health equity initiative.
What is a health equity initiative? You know what they did for the migrants, the illegal immigrants that are here in this country now? They gave them free health care. They didn't call it an initiative. They just gave them free health care. They didn't give them $20,000 in forgivable loans. They just gave them $20,000. That's what they gave them. They just gave them the money. Excuse me, not $20,000. They just gave them money. And they're giving them on a continuous basis. They're giving them houses on a continuous basis. Not an initiative, sir. Stop trying to fool black men in this room who don't know no better, sir. Put somebody on your panel who can actually counter your points so we can actually push harder to make brothers think a little deeper. Maybe they do want to build something for their fucking self. Maybe 10 of them in the room has $2,000 put together to put towards some land so they can build a fucking house with each other so they don't have to keep working themselves to death to giving their money away to rent. How about that? Why are we not talking about any of those things, sir?
To tackle sickle cell, prostate cancer, and diabetes, the three leading cause of death for black men, disproportionately. And yes, we can invest in solutions to provide better education and prevention and treatment to save black lives.
You know what I found interesting about what you...
You know what else could save black lives if you did that in the healthcare system? You give us our reparations so we can get better healthcare. You give us our reparation, we have better access to better quality of food. That's what reparations to do. We don't need an initiative. We don't need someone to basically hand feed it to us. It is a debt owed to our families, to us, to me, that I can take care of my own business with that. I don't need you to do it, sir. I don't need Kamala Harris, who doesn't know anything about my group, to do it, sir. If you want me to do for self, sir, I have to do for self.
You just said in addition to those things, but they were things that were tailor-made for us. They're things for us, by us, to use an acronym. What part of her plan, Jermaine, do you think will appeal to young people? How do we reach
yes, please tell us this. Please
aspects of this plan?
I just think we got to get out in front of them and give them more information. Like when he was just saying, I just raised my hand and tried to get a question in. Why is it being said that we are not voting for this election? I don't know.
But I think it's
because they want a scapegoat. They want to have somebody to blame the election results on, and they're not going to do that by blaming black men. We're not going to be somebody's scapegoat.
You know,
that didn't even make sense to the question. Jermaine asks, why do you think black men are not voting? Because we're not going to be the scapegoat. Nigga, that's not answering the question. What are you talking about? We're not voting because there's nothing to vote for. Give us something to vote for and we will vote. Reparations, hate crime bills, things like that. Things that you're going to actually enforce that's going to help our community. If you can't do it, we can't do it.
You're absolutely right. But I think in addition, it's really the same old story. There is an attempt to fragment. Like, there's a legitimate question as to whether the vice president's support among black men is eroding. But an equally legitimate question is, why is Dick Cheney and Jeff Flake and Geraldo Rivera not?
We don't care. We don't care.
So you can see
we don't care.
There is a deliberate attempt to disengage, because the one thing that was on the sale about Vice President Harris
Enough.
is her enthusiasm.
Enough. That's another lie. Let's move on. All right, this is okay, let's see where we go from here. Let's go.
Be focusing on are Kenny Burns and Vic Mensa.
We're going to do this protecting black women.
The streets to find out.
I'm not going to sit here and do
telling me
this.
about
well, let's watch it.
Concerns with the next generation. And I'm wondering, does reproductive rights factor into this election for you and your decision making?
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely pro-choice. I think a woman should control what happens with her body 100%.
I think the reproductive rights aspect makes the choice for who to elect very clear.
Someone coming in and say, hey, this is what you need to do with your body. Like, we have never experienced that. And I don't want them to experience that.
And we need to stay out of that. I think we also need our government to stay out of those things as well.
I don't believe in abortion. Just being honest with you, I believe we abuse the right.
Is that a big part of your decision-making this election?
For me personally, it's not high up there, right? I'm not going to say that it's not of importance. There's no disrespect to women at all, right? I come from one.
Oh, definitely affects my vote. I'm a father of 4 daughters.
You know, my choice, my body, and stuff like that. And it is. I'm not going to say anything, too deep into that.
With all these black women behind the camera.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't get jumped, you know what I'm saying?
When we empower and give women the right to choose in every aspect of their life, we as a society advance.
I'm not even gonna make this one long because this is stupid. Why would you? And let me get to this spot.
Kenny Burns and Vic Mensa,
I'm gonna get that. So why are we having a discussion with black men about women's right to choose on their bodies? Women need to have that discussion. Why are men being asked about killing their babies? Can we stop acting like black people in our group are thinking about abortions 24/7? That is a white woman's problem. Yes, do black women get abortion? Yes, but she ain't fucking thinking about it. Yes, well, if you take away abortions, will the bitch have to be a little more responsible about her body? Yes. And I'm not talking about rape victims. I'm not talking about people who are molested. Those we all understand. That is something they should have the choice to do something. But since you wanted to go out and get a train ran on you and you don't know who your baby daddy is, that is your problem, not mine. You're not going to sit here and act like that's an issue for me. No, bitch. I want to worry about where our money's going. I don't care about that. If a woman wants to choose, that's fine. That's her business. If she wants to murder her child, that's her problem. I really don't. That's her business. I don't care. That's none of my business. That's not what black men are talking about. I have never been in a space when a whole bunch of black men we're talking about, man, we really want to talk about these women's right to choose, man. They just taking it away. Nobody talks like that. Then keep having these fucking conversations. You're having the same conversations they're having. If you want to talk to black men, we're going to have different issues. I'll give you an example. You ever notice when you go talk to white women, they'll start talking about things like stem cell research and stuff that's going to affect their community because they're dying fast and they're being born. You know, you have stuff like that. You're going to have people worrying about zoning issues because they have businesses, things like that. Why the fuck are you talking to black men about abortion rights? This is stupid. We have way more important things that we should be talking about. If a man can take care of his fucking child, then a woman ain't got to think about having an abortion when it comes to that. Because there are women who are having abortions because they feel like they can't afford to take care of the baby. I get it. You need to be more responsible with your pussy then. I understand that. But I'm also understanding, too, that sometimes you're just afraid and feel like you can't do it. So what I'm saying is that this is not a black male issue to be talking about within 1 hour of a conversation. This is stupid.
Kenny, man, what do black men see reproductive rights as an important issue?
No.
I think here we all believe that black women will say the planet correct.
Yeah.
We also believe that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we come from a black woman. They should have rights to their bodies. We should not be
great. Now kill the conversation right now. Let's move on. Nobody cares. I'm not even doing it. I'm not even gonna sit there and do that stupid shit. We gonna sit there and have a conversation about nothing.
To use.
All right, so where we at here? Shit, hold on. I think I missed the last one. Let's get to the last one. Let's fast forward it. Because I don't even know what the last topic is. Here it is. Let's go.
Welcome back. This high-stakes election is just days away, and I want to allow some of our guests to share their final thoughts and their call to action. So,
let's hear what their call to action is.
DL, when you think about Project 2025.
Oh, God.
And the way they have...
Newsflash, the creator of Project 2025 wasn't Donald Trump. The person who actually did it actually endorsed Kamala. What does that fucking tell you? He knows it, but he's just going to keep regurgitating because they're trying to fearmonger you. I don't want to hear what he has to say. That's enough of that. That's enough. Let's get these people off the screen and let's just try to move on from here. Hold on a second, guys. I was just almost on it. Let's do this. Yes, let's just get them off the screen. Send some of this music back on so we can close this thing out. All right. What I want to say before we get out of here is this. This is what's wrong with our group. We have a bunch of black men that are sitting in front of our faces there who are bought and paid for by the system. Either they're bought and paid for by the system, they have been in the system too long, so they don't have a alternative thought to what we actually know out here. And the third thing is that, yes, the reason why people are not voting Democrat anymore is because they want to be Republicans now. They are just tired of not getting anything for every 4 years, getting out and voting for you people. The last thing I want to say before I get out of here is this. I am beating the drum, deaf to the entertainer as the speakers for our group. Ben Crump, D.L. Hughley, Michael Ealy, throw them all in the bunch with the rest of them. I no longer support them because they sat in front of me and lied to me like I was a fucking idiot. You're not going to talk to me like I'm an idiot and then think that I'm going to support you economically. I beg of every black person who hears me and agrees with the way I view it, the next time you see a black person step out on a limb and tell you to do some shit that's actually going to be counterproductive to you, remove yourself from supporting them in any form or fashion like I will do. Deaf to the entertainer, deaf to the black politician, deaf to all of those. And when I say that I don't mean that deaf to them physically. I mean deaf to us no longer supporting them anymore. I'm out of here. Peace.
Whoa. Before you leave this podcast and go somewhere else, did you hit the notification bell? Because if you didn't, please do so now. And I'm talking to the people who've already subscribed. But if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that as well. Hit the like button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.